What a beautiful day outside. It's only 70 degrees, at least in the garage. Some of you might get that. But anyways, crack one of these open. Got to do some early spring cleaning in here again. I've got a whole video on this coming. This actually ties into some of the stuff that's in the van. But my neighbor gave me this, and it was spitting out an error code. Long story short, I bought a new one of these, control board, and it's not here yet. This is the old one. Checked all the harnesses, checked all the wires, checked what I could for continuity, and came down to purchasing one of these boards off of eBay for $30. So we'll see what's going on with that. Also got some other stuff over here that's going to go in the trash. Stuff that I've had for a while that I either don't really need or, you know, it's just taking up space, as you guys can obviously tell. But I've been using this quite a bit, and I think I just filled it just slightly too full of oil. It's not a bad thing right now, but it's working great. I've been extremely happy with this lawnmower. I need to wash it off again. So I'll show you guys what trash I got today. So I've been busy. As you guys can see, I found a table. I'll get to the table in a second, but a couple fans, nothing really too special, a weed eater. I only kind of picked these up really just by proxy now. They're really not worth it half the time. Actually, this thing is still full of gas, so that's interesting. Good thing it didn't leak all over the table. But I'll go ahead and unload this stuff and show you guys what I got. So I've got the table out. Then I have this. The one in the van decided to spring a leak. You guys probably can't really see that all that well. But it was leaking the other day when I topped it off. So I have to go ahead and replace this thing. It's not too hard to replace. 2 bolts right there. And then it's got a kind of a clip on the other side. But shouldn't be all that difficult. Anyway, so you guys can see the table. It's not in the best shape as far as, you know, cosmetically goes, but it functions just fine as a table. Nice and sturdy, needs to be cleaned off. I mean, that's really about it. There's a little bit of wear here. That's okay. On the bottom it says it's cherry wood. So that's kind of nice. But anyways, so here's the rest of the haul for today. Honestly, not all that great of a weekend for trash picking. Didn't really find too much that's really worth anything. I found one of these pull-on weed eaters, the exact same thing as a Weed Eater brand one or a Craftsman brand one. I give these things one chance, and then they go in the trash. I don't keep these. I don't sit there and try and fuck with them at all. They're just not worth it. There's not enough of a return on these for me to be able to justify that. And the guy was actually outside when I picked this one up, and he said that he had only had it for about a year, and it just, for whatever reason, stopped working. Well, I obviously saw that it had compression just fine, but I already knew what was wrong with it before I even looked in here. And that is the fuel line came off. So it's down in that tank somewhere, and that's probably the issue. If it needs any more than that, I am not going to worry about fixing this thing. Anyway, so then I found this, a electric hedge trimmer. Old. I don't know what year this was made in, but I'm assuming, well, that says trademark, but it's made by Little Wonder. I've never heard of the brand before. I'm assuming this is a fairly old brand. He said that it works, but it needs to be lubed up, which probably gonna kind of be a pain in the ass. I've never really messed with one of these before, but I do need a new one of these for the house, so yeah, that's where that's gonna go. This one does not work, this fan, but this one does. Now, this one is a classic case where it's got absolutely nothing wrong with it. It works fine, but it was purposefully broken. Well, if you look, this one's got the same exact retainers that this one does. So use the parts off of that one, fix that one. I actually need something of that size for work, and let's throw that one away, and there you go. This one works fine, except the little pull thing there. Yeah, fans are my guilty pleasure, boys. They really are. But this one works. Seems to work just fine. It's good enough. And this one, it's really loose right here, the guard, so I'll go ahead and pull that off and I'll show you guys if it works or not. So what was wrong with this one? The retaining ring was completely off and in between here, so it was preventing the blades from turning. And there you have it. So a fuse probably went out. That sucks. Oh well, it happens. Off to the trash it goes. So just as I suspected, this fan had the same exact clips on it that this one does. So I just have to remove both of these screws on both sides, throw these replacement clips in, throw these replacement ones in, and we should be good to go to put it back on that. And so one broken piece of shit fixes another broken, not as much of a piece of shit. Got it plugged in. Three speeds and it works fine. Not bad. I don't know why they threw it away. Broke it on purpose and threw it away. I have no idea. So anyways, part of what I was leading into with the table and the dryer, and to some extent some more furniture over here, I'm still looking at buying a house. I haven't stopped. In fact, what I did do is I got rid of that Fusion because I needed some more money to be able to put down on a house. At the end of the day, I'm still looking for a place. So you guys are going to have a lot of stuff coming up pretty soon. Well, so I got the van in here now. Figured I'd finish up this video properly. I'm going to go ahead and refill it with some coolant. And I had a funnel around here somewhere. I don't know where the hell it went. Oh well, forget it. I just have to be really careful. So I know some of you are going to ask me, well, I got this brand new one put in now. The old one was leaking. I think I said that. So I know some of you guys are going to ask me the situation with this other possible job offer. Well, nothing's set in stone, and like most things, it relies on a couple other things happening. But there's really, no telling. Basically, it's a job working on Blackhawks, mostly. There is the occasional Chinook, there is the occasional Apache, but it's mostly a job working on Blackhawks. I went in for the interview with them on Friday afternoon, and they sounded very convincing that they were going to give me the job. Now, the benefits of taking this job are pretty much that it's going to pay more per hour. The hours will be more, it's basically a 6:30 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon job. Now the schedule that I work at this job is, it varies constantly. So, like there's days where I'll start at 8 in the morning at this job. There's other days where I've gone in at 6:30. There's days where I've gone in at 4:30. There's days where I've gone in 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 10 o'clock at night. It's just literally all over the place. Now I can do it because I'm not married, don't have any kids to deal with. So I've been able to do it, but it doesn't stop it from sucking. Don't misunderstand me, guys. It's not the most opportune schedule in the world. It makes it very hard to schedule, you know, other stuff like, you know, doctor appointments and everything like that. So obviously those are the benefits with joining up with this other job. The negatives is that it's a temporary position. They do have permanent slots that open up all the time, and they sounded pretty convinced that, you know, there's going to be a few slots opening up when they renew their contract and this and that. Like most things in the world, if it's not in writing, it's not set in stone. So it could be very possible that I work this job for 8 months or 12 months or however long it turns out to be before, you know, the position expires. And then they say, well, we don't have another position to put you in, and nothing opened up while you were here for almost a year or whatever it turns out to be. That kind of changes things, especially if I'm looking at buying a house. So there's really 2 ways I can go about doing this. The job I've got is stable. It does suck sometimes as far as scheduling goes, but it is stable. It doesn't pay as high, but that should be changing because we are unionizing. So that's going to bump up our pay. Probably around to the same what they're making working on helicopters. That issue alone is, you know, something that isn't a deal breaker. It's more so the schedule that I'm looking at. But so there's a few different things to consider, and buying a house on a temporary job is kind of really throwing the dice and hoping that your numbers come up. If I wasn't in the position where I wanted to buy a house, I might jump on it quicker, such as, you know, if I was planning on moving out of here sometime soon, which still could happen, you know. That's the thing about it, boys. There's just so many different ways that I could take this, you know, take this route, and, you know, any one of them is just as good. There's negatives and positives, and there honestly any way I could go wherever I want to, you know, hunker down and sit and, you know, work a job somewhat permanently. It can go well either way. You know, I'm honestly on the fence about whatever route that I go. So that's what kind of sucks about this. This is a very hard decision. Trust me when I say this, boys, but it's a very hard decision for me to make. And you know, there's just going to be a lot of things that I have to weigh. I don't have to move now, but I'm tired of the whole renting situation. I really am. You know, I want to be able to essentially have many more freedoms in what I do with the house and the property. And, you know, if I want to pay in a room, I don't have to call a landlord. You know, it's like, you know, stuff like that. So, like I said, it's just, there's a lot of stuff to take into account. I figured I would get you guys some closure to this video. I know this was kind of another, I don't know, I don't want to say bullshit weekend, but there wasn't really much going on. I did some work to the van. I replaced some swear bar links on it, which you guys will see that video later in the week. You guys should also see the video on this later in the week as soon as I get the part in. You know, there really wasn't all that much going on. Took care of some extraneous stuff that, you know, wasn't made for a video, but you know, it is what it is. So anyways, this video has gone on long enough. I hope you guys had a great weekend, and stay tuned for more. You know, there always will be more. And you all stay classy.